Friends, behind me sits the only attraction that Walt Disney himself ever designed. But maybe the scariest thing this Halloween at Disneyland for a lot of fans is fear that this could go away. Brickey here, join me today as we look at the legacy of Tom Sawyer's Island, the Mark Twain, the Rivers of America, and Walt Disney. And today we'll break down together, should Disneyland fans be fearful of the same fate that's happening at the Magic Kingdom, where Tom Sawyer's Island, the Rivers of America, and the Liberty Bell are all going away. And a great starting point for today's conversation is breaking down just how different the Rivers of America at Disneyland is as compared with its younger sibling at Magic Kingdom. The Rivers of America here at Disneyland was a major part of Walt's vision for what he wanted this park to be and what he wanted it to become. When they made the Magic Kingdom, they just basically replicated that template. And like most instances, how's it going, bud? And everybody knows that when you cast a mold of something, the duplicate is never as good as the original. The Rivers of America at Magic Kingdom is absolutely beautiful, creating some of the most breathtaking views inside of the entire park. But the Rivers of America at home at Disneyland is way more than just a showpiece. It's an operational piece of how the park is designed to operate, how to handle big crowds, and it also has so much to do, low-key, with the city of Anaheim and all the other water inside of Disneyland. This isn't just a set piece. This is an operational masterpiece of how Disneyland works. Currently, it houses over 4 different attractions, and each one of these attractions in its own right is a testament to Walt's legacy and his vision for his beloved Disneyland. And there are countless stories of how the Mark Twain, for example, plays in to the opening days of Disneyland, where just a few days before Walt's dream would turn into a reality, Walt and Lillian celebrated their anniversary on the Mark Twain with their close family and friends. Sort of a soft preview of what was to come, and his daughter recalled that it may have been the happiest that she ever saw her father in her entire life. But then just a few years later, sailing ship Columbia would show up as Walt's vision to celebrate not only the mythology of pirates, but also the first boat to ever circumvent the globe. Not this Columbia, the real Columbia is the one that did that, but it's a monument to America and its greatness. And then there's the idea that got Walt into this entire mess in the first place. Walt was a major train advocate, loved trains. Trains inspired Disneyland. And if you've ever seen the relationship that the Disneyland Railroad has with the Rivers of America, it is absolutely beautiful. And when Galaxy's Edge showed up, Walt Disney Imagineering perfectly carved out a beautiful relationship between the Rivers of America, Tom Sawyer Island, and the Disneyland Railroad. And because Disneyland has been around for so long, it is a multi-generational product. There are so many great traditions here, like the races that we have on the rivers between cast members and the Davy Crockett Explorer canoes. That's a mouthful. And not only are all of these items a part of the tapestry that is Disney's history, but they're all operational attractions happening almost each and every day out on the Rivers of America, where our river isn't just a beautiful thing to look at, it's an operational part of Disneyland. With so many guests each and every day taking some of those vibe rides to get away from the chaos that is the incredibly small but incredibly popular Disneyland. But if this river is such an integral part of Disneyland's operations and its rich history, why are so many fans worried that it's going to go away? And I don't think that worry is completely unwarranted. I've seen a couple of fan theories that actually got me a little bit rattled and inspired to make this video. So thank you so much for commenting on my Rivers of America video that I did for Magic Kingdom. Because of you, this one is getting made. And maybe for any other reason, I'm doing this video just to prove to myself that my Disneyland Rivers of America theory is hopefully absolutely correct. Conveniently, the Monday morning after D23 was when Disney dropped probably the most shocking D23 announcement, that the price of a Cars land and attractions coming to the Magic Kingdom meant the removal of the Magic Kingdom's Rivers of America, its Tom Sawyer Island, and as well, its Liberty Bell. To say that it was shocking at the very least theme park fans trying to imagine what it would be like to remove a Rivers of America and associated attractions out of a Disney Castle Park. It was like absolutely shocking. They can't do that. Turns out they are. And like many of you, I was just like, that's impossible. You cannot do that. And I went out to Magic Kingdom and I went there with rage in my heart. And then when I got there, I kind of saw it from their perspective by keeping an open mind and thinking about the design of Rivers of America and Tom Sawyer Island out at Magic Kingdom and how Disney never fully took advantage of Walt's vision. It's absolutely beautiful, creates stunning vibes, like looking at the Haunted Mansion from the other side of the river. Could do it all day. In fact, some days I have. But all Magic Kingdom currently is doing is just copying Walt's idea of a river inside of a park. And operationally, it adds little to no value to the park as far as guest experience and making the park money. And part of being a designer is you have to look at things realistically, and budgets and what designs generate as far as overall growth of a company. It's a big part of design. If you just want to make stuff that's pretty, you're more than welcome to become a gallerist and just make paintings for the sake of paintings. But I, like so many others, I'm obsessed with real world design that has real world applications attached to it. Because when design is truly impressive, is when it looks beautiful, people love it, but it also does what it's intended to do. Support a greater narrative, make money, and give people an experience that brings them back for more Disney magic. But I think once the reality settled in, like, oh, they are really removing the Rivers of America from Magic Kingdom, many fans and myself go, oh shit, could Disneyland be next? I'm so happy that you showed up today's video talking all about Rivers of America, Tom Sawyer. May it stay here forever inside of our sweet, sweet Disneyland. If you're enjoying today's video, do me a favor, do you a favor, subscribe to Hey Brickey. That is the easiest, freest way to make sure I keep showing up with 3 quality videos each and every week and addressing topics that really nobody else makes videos about. And there's a reason, because there used to not be an audience for it, but we're proving them all wrong. Thank you so much for signing up to Hey Brickey, and thank you so much for going on this journey with me. Now back to the shores of the island, because I had to wait for it to open it up. But don't worry, spoiler alert, we make it to the island today. And this is the moment where I love the Disney community, because people that love Disney treat it just like sports. And there are already so many rumors circulating. I talked to a guy who talked to a guy who talked to a guy who knows a cast member that said they're already planning on pulling the river out of Disneyland. Then obviously this only compounds the fear as other fans believe those rumors to be true. And then the game of telephone begins. And next thing you know, everybody's mourning a river that we have no indication right now whether it's here to stay or whether it's going to go away. And there are so many intelligent fans that watch this channel and that are big fans of Disney parks. There is an intellectual side to all of this, and I praise those that are in it for that. Because, spoiler alert, there is so much more to all of this than popcorn buckets and lounge fly bags. And the part of this, the Disney fans started to become that little buzz in the back of my brain was, there is a lot of things currently closed on Tom Sawyer's Island. Like the caves have been closed for a while, some of the bridges are blocked off, and due to ADA complaints, nobody's ever going to what used to be the tallest point in Disneyland, Tom Sawyer's Treehouse. Sorry, Chris Murray, you're never going back to your favorite spot inside of Disneyland. The Treehouse is done, my friend. So then when I started to think about what Disney fans were saying about all the things that are closed that Disney has given up on the island, I thought, oh no. Are the negative Nellies right this time? Is Disney actually giving up on Tom Sawyer's Island? And what could that mean for the associated river and my beloved Mark Twain, my favorite ride at Disneyland? The island can't be a profitable endeavor, right? Because if we were to look at the Disney balance sheet at the end of the year, money in, money out, there is no way this thing comes even close to putting a dent into its operational expenses. And spoiler alert, it takes money to make the magic happen. So then you start to get a little bit paranoid of like, oh no, maybe this is something they're thinking about. But then I think about it from a different perspective. The island behind me is much smaller than the island that exists out at Magic Kingdom. It's about 150,000 square feet, give or take, smaller than what they have to convert over to new theme park experiences at Magic Kingdom. Not only creating a more intimate experience, but also an island that is way easier to get to and to explore. And it does get an audience. There are generally a handful of people over there all day long until it closes in the evening, when it gets converted over to one of the greatest magic tricks that happens at Disneyland, where every day around sunset, a crew of workers convert the Rivers of America that you've seen all day long, that has attractions on it, people walking around it, when it gets converted into an amphitheater. And Fantasmic happens twice nightly, where even the Mark Twain plays a significant role in that show. When this is full of cast members waving at you, oh, the Disney magic leaks from your eyes. And Fantasmic does make money, and most importantly, it does manage audiences and crowds. The evenings without it are so different. Nighttime shows are very expensive to produce, but they are such a sophisticated part of Disney's genius crowd operations. And then there's also a couple of very important tech features of our Rivers of America that I'm pretty sure you can't say would also be true for Magic Kingdom. Whereas I've come to understand it, and we'll get into this more in a bit, but the Rivers of America at Disneyland is also an operational part of the park's infrastructure. So yes, obviously, I'm telling myself all of these things because I can't have the trolls be true this time. And that's not fair. That's not a troll thing to say. I mean, these are concerned Disney fans that have seen the parks do a lot of questionable things over the last decade. So it is a warranted concern. I apologize. What would the benefit be of pulling the river out of this park? It's much smaller. It has way more activity, and it also has, this is important, Disney legacy. Disneyland, as it's getting ready to turn 70 years old and was the only park that Walt Disney himself ever set foot on, this is Walt's park. Disneyland, I believe, is starting to learn that maybe the best IP they have inside of their theme parks is the story of Walt Disney and the story of Disneyland. And if anything, I think removing the river from the Magic Kingdom is a move to start putting Disneyland uniquely in its own lane. Yes, there are castle parks in countries all around the world, but there's only one true castle park that was Walt's original Magic Kingdom. And I'm starting to see the tea leaves where Disney is leaning into hard the Disneyland story. And I think over the next decade or so and more, especially as we get close to Disneyland 100, we will start to see that story turned into all kinds of different attractions, entertainment offerings. They understand that they own one of the greatest real-world stories ever told, the story of Walt Disney and the story of a man who changed the face of theme park entertainment. In fact, they were amusement parks before Walt got involved, and now they're known as theme parks. One of the pushbacks I got on my video from the community that watched my video about the Rivers of America being removed in Magic Kingdom is I basically said a long time ago, Disney decided to stop taking care of the Rivers of America, and therefore it was time to go away. And I just want to kind of explain that my mindset there is, if you're not going to take care of something, then get rid of it and put something in the park you will take care of. People spend way too much time, money, and resources from their life to come to these theme parks. Everything in that theme park should honor that commitment from the guests, from Disney management, and from the corporate culture that runs these parks. There's also the fact that this island is very awkwardly shaped. If we look at it from above, it looks like a natural island. If we look at Magic Kingdom from above, it's just kind of a big circle that I guess Disney executives thought was willing to be patched or plugged in the center of their park. But you wouldn't get the same offerings from converting this into something else. That gets back into Walt's master plan of Disneyland, being shaped and manicured like a real little city. The awkwardness of this island, how it has its pinch point and its hourglass shape, that makes the island feel incredibly real. It doesn't feel like a park planted inside of a theme park. It feels like a real little island with a natural body of water surrounding it. And I don't even know if Walt knew at the time what he was doing with negative space placed inside of his masterpiece of Disneyland. As I said in the Magic Kingdom video, never underestimate the value of negative space inside of a design. Disneyland has very tight corridors. It's become extremely popular. The Rivers of America creates not only a lot of entertainment offerings, but it creates a negative space that opens up the horizon and makes people not feel so cramped and crowded in what's become a very, very small theme park for its high demand. And speaking of high demand, this is where it all gets even more, I think, nuanced. Magic Kingdom, most popular park in the world. Therefore, every square foot has to be delivering exceptional experience and capacity. Tom Sawyer Island, Rivers of America, Liberty Bell, and Magic Kingdom are not fulfilling what they need to do as part of the overall ecosystem of being part of that busiest park in the world. A theme park full of tourists that have all spent an enormous amount of money to go to Orlando to have the vacation of a lifetime, have very high expectations. They want to and deserve to be entertained constantly. Disneyland, a locals park, a slow roll park, where families from Southern California, and the Western United States come here time and time and time again. This is a place where you go at the pace that it shows you. Therefore, Disneyland can rightfully so have a massive footprint in the center of the park, designed by its creator, that is just a slow roll. Maybe you go there, maybe you don't, but you always enjoy the views and the air conditioning that it creates when you walk along those banks of the Rivers of America. Now, I'm not a fool, and I do anticipate that over the next decade or so, we will see Tom Sawyer's Island have some sort of change applied to it. I'm not saying that it's always going to be the way that it stands today. Disneyland is a place of constant perfection, constant pursuit of perfection. And, well, you talking to a camera on this bridge, you get dizzy. I fully subscribe to the idea that yes, Disneyland will never be completed. And is the island completed? I hope not. I love the SimCity nature of the Disney parks. That's how, as a designer, I got into all of this. So I do anticipate some changes. And all of this puts Disney in an awkward position, trying to create entertainment experiences for new audiences that have way smaller attention spans, but also trying to preserve the legacy of Disneyland and its creator, Walt Disney. And I do 100% anticipate that at some point, what's out here now will get edited and modified into something else. But I believe that will be done putting the thought and care into preserving as much of Walt Disney's vision and legacy as possible. So I believe the island will stay, even though I don't know that the Tom Sawyer theme absolutely will. This is where we're going to get into some of the technical reasons that even though it might make sense for show-wise to get something over here that's high volume, I don't know that Disneyland would operate the same, or Anaheim would operate the same, without everything that I'm standing in the middle of right now. So this is a little bit spoiler for a future video that I'm working on. So when you watch that video, pinky swear that you'll act excited like you've never heard these facts. But a majority of the bodies of water inside of Disneyland are all connected in a very specific way. Without going into all the details, the water is designed where most of the bodies of water flow in together for a filtration system. The Rivers of America is a significant part of that water ecosystem. Therefore, if you take out the river, you might doom so many other integral parts of bodies of water that make Disneyland so special and create that sweet, sweet kinetic energy. And possibly one of the craziest fun facts that I have discovered on my deep, deep digging for my Disneyland Oddity series. I really don't want to put this one in this video. I want to save it for something bigger, but now's the time to make this argument. So, unlike Orlando, that has tons of bodies of water everywhere. After all, it is swampland that they converted into theme park land. And obviously, with Anaheim, you cannot say the same thing. Anaheim has hardly any water at all. And I believe at the time of my research, this maybe has changed. I doubt that it has with the way that the environment's going. But this, I believe, is the largest body of water inside the city of Anaheim. And there is an agreement between the city and Disneyland, at least there was back in the day, that if there was ever like catastrophe level, shit's going down and everything's upside down, there's an agreement that this body of water is earmarked to assist in helping whatever disaster is happening. Friends, this body of water behind me is part of the city of Anaheim's contingency plan whenever it's just all going sideways and everything is doom and gloom. You break the glass, you take the river from the rivers of America, and you try to save the city of Anaheim. I know that's bleak, but part of leadership is being prepared for the unforeseeable. And as my research has indicated, this river is earmarked to help the city of Anaheim when things go in a way that nobody wants them to go. And look, I don't know that alone like saves the river, but it gotta help, right? Knowing that this body of water is an integral part of the operations, the infrastructure of Disneyland, and it's way more than just an attraction, it's how the park operates. To me indicates it has at least a whole other level of safety of being pulled from the park than what they had out at Magic Kingdom. You never know what the future could bring. You never know how the world around us could change. And it feels like the world is moving at 100 miles an hour. And sometimes it feels like it's moving at 100 miles per hour straight at a brick wall. And I hope and pray that the Disneyland executives know that this park in particular creates a refuge from a crazy, crazy world. And once you go through the tunnel on the right and you're surrounded by the hug that is the Disneyland berm, you go into a space where all of those concerns melt away. This river, this island, these boats is a huge part of the story that Walt Disney was trying to tell to audiences of 1955. But I think that story might be even more important to audiences in the chaos of 2025. Yeah, I know that's next year. Oh, he said the wrong year. It's called evergreen content, baby. So hopefully today I've done a good job of convincing you, and I felt like I convinced myself that the Rivers of America at Disneyland is here to stay. But if you're curious why they're going away at the Magic Kingdom, make sure you watch this video right here. I'm so glad you showed up. Can't wait to see you soon out on Tom Sawyer's Island. I'm always here.